Yesterday your clematis was covered in flowers. This morning, one whole vine is black and hanging limp. Your first thought is probably, it's wilt, it's gone. But the Royal Horticultural Society says something surprising. Many collapses like that aren't wilt at all. There are 3 different causes that look almost identical. And only one of them is a true death sentence. In the next 30 seconds, you'll learn exactly which of the 3 is happening to your vine, and whether it can be saved. Clematis grows in nearly every US garden zone, from 4 all the way up to 9. So if you've got one of these vines, this applies to you. And here's why July matters. One of these 3 causes only shows up when the weather turns hot and humid. That means summer is exactly when it strikes hardest. Let's start with the easiest one to fix. Cause number 1, a broken stem. Clematis stems are hollow and surprisingly brittle. A strong gust of wind, a curious dog brushing past, rough handling while you're tying up the vine. Any of these can snap a stem clean through. Once that happens, water can't reach the leaves above the break, and the whole section wilts, fast. It looks exactly like disease. It isn't. That same source names this kind of physical damage as one of the most commonly confused causes of clematis wilting. It's right up there with drought and slug damage. Here's the test. Find a suspicious stem, cut a small section, and split it open. Takes about 10 seconds. If the inside is still green and firm, that's not fungal wilt. That's just a broken pipe. The fix is simple. All you need is a pair of pruners you already own. Snipping the damaged section back to healthy tissue does the job. The rest of the vine, the part still rooted and green, is usually just fine. No digging up the plant. No panic needed. But a broken stem stays put. The next cause moves, and it eats while you sleep. Cause number 2, pests. 2 culprits do most of the damage here. Slugs and snails feed at night. They leave ragged, irregular holes in the leaves, and a telltale silvery, slimy trail behind them. Spider mites are the opposite, nearly invisible. But they leave fine webbing on the undersides of leaves and a stippled, speckled look, especially during hot, dry stretches. Neither one causes the sudden, dramatic blackening true wilt does. Instead, you'll notice slower yellowing, chewed leaves, or a general decline. Quick safety note first. A bag of chemical slug pellets might run you $5 or $6, but many of them contain metaldehyde. The Merck Veterinary Manual is the standard reference vets use. It lists tremors and other serious symptoms in dogs and cats within hours of ingestion. Small children are at risk too. If you've got pets or grandkids around, skip the pellets. If you keep any, store them sealed and out of reach. Good news, you don't need them. The fix for slugs is dirt cheap and pet safe. Just a shallow dish of beer sunk into the soil. The fix for spider mites is simple too. A strong spray of water or a light coating of neem oil usually clears them up. Both dry fast. Once the leaves aren't wet anymore, It's fine for pets and grandkids to be back out in the yard. So that's the fixable stuff. A snapped stem, a hungry pest. But there's one clue almost every gardener misses. It's the quickest way to tell if your plant is actually infected. Now for the cause that actually can kill a section of your vine for good. And this next part is for those of you standing over a vine that's already gone completely black.
Cause number 3. True Clematis wilt.
This one is a real fungus. Scientists call it Calophoma clematidina, though older books call it Phoma or Ascochyta. Here's why this works the way it does. Think of it like a pipe clogged with mud. The fungus gets in through a small wound near the soil line, then blocks the flow of water right there. Above the clog, nothing gets through, so the leaves and stem wilt fast, even though the soil underneath is plenty moist. With true wilt, splitting open a stem shows black tissue inside, not green. That's the same test from cause 1. Black inside? That's the culprit. Green means damage. Black means true wilt. That's it. That's the whole test. And you don't need to be an expert to run it. Once it turns warm and humid, most infections take hold. That's exactly why July is prime time for it. Here's the part that should calm you down. The Royal Horticultural Society, Clemson Cooperative Extension, and Penn State Extension all agree on one thing. This disease does not attack the root system. The roots survive. And because the roots survive, an established clematis often sends up brand new shoots from the base the following year. The fix is the same for every case of true wilt. Cut the affected stems back to healthy tissue, sometimes all the way to the ground. No need to dig the plant up. The proof is in the pudding. Give it a season and watch what comes back up. Picture this. You walk out one July morning, coffee in hand, and there it is, a whole cane of your clematis, black and collapsed overnight. Before the shovel comes out, the pruners are the better first move. A small cut, split open, tells the whole story. Green inside points to a broken stem or pest damage, and a quick snip usually solves it. Black inside points to true wilt, and cutting back hard lets the roots do the rest. Now, there's one more thing that protects against all 3 of these problems at once, and it happens before any of them even start. It's the kind of trick old-timers swore by, long before anyone had a university study to back it up. Turns out, extension offices at Clemson, Penn State, and the University of Illinois all agree with them. Planting a clematis a few inches deeper than it sat in its nursery pot pays off later. The target is burying at least 2 pairs of leaf nodes below the soil line. Those 3 extension offices all agree on this, even though they word it differently. Those buried nodes act as insurance. Mowed off, chewed by an animal, snapped by wind, hit by true wilt. It doesn't matter which. The plant can send up an entirely new stem from those buried nodes. It's not a fix for a problem you already have, it's protection for the next one. before it happens. One simple step at planting time, and you've hedged against a broken stem, a hungry slug, and true wilt, all at once. So here's the recap. 3 causes can make a clematis collapse: a broken stem, hungry pests, or true fungal wilt. Only that last one is caused by disease. The other 2 are simply damage, and damage heals. Next time a section goes down, there's no need to panic or reach for the shovel. The pruners and one small cut are all it takes to look inside. Green means damage. Black means true wilt. Cutting back hard lets those roots go to work. By next spring, there's a good chance you'll see fresh green shoots climbing right back up that same trellis. Do this right. By the time your neighbours are ripping out their dead vines, yours will be the one still climbing the fence. You check before you dig. You'd rather cut back and wait than tear out and start over. That's the kind of gardener who belongs here. Tell us in the comments, what USDA zone are you in? And did your clematis pull through? Here's to cutting smart, saving the vine, and having some fun out there this July. Happy gardening!